break from everything for a while.
Oh, hold on, Voltaire. Remember when I told you that there was something wrong? I forgot to unmute us. It was going too perfect, and then I
Yeah,
forgot
it
to
was.
unmute
Yeah,
us.
things
Okay,
were real smooth. Yeah.
everything was smooth. Okay, one more time.
Yeah.
Welcome back, or welcome to the Dear Video Games Podcast, our open letter to our favorite hobby. My name is Curtis Russell, and I'm just gonna say do content on video games, and I'm joined by Bay Area Raptor. He's
Bay Area Raptor, Bay Area Velociraptor.
Bay Area rapper and video game enthusiast. How about I'm gonna start throwing it in there? Video
Oh, I
game
like that. That's a
enthusiast.
good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Voltaire
Our,
Slapadelic. How are you doing, my brother?
it's doing great. Our intro was smooth as ever.
That needed saving. I was like, it's
Oh
something in
man,
the back of my head was
that
like,
was
something's
funny.
wrong.
I was like,
Something's
this
going
is
on.
too much like a normal podcast.
uh, um. Okay, so this podcast is our podcast, or what did I call it? Tears of the podcast. This podcast
Yeah.
is Tears of the Podcast because we're going to talk
You are
about.
on the internet.
Yeah.
You are watching content.
We're going to talk about, of course, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We're also going to get into some topical stuff, but we're not going to beat around the bush with this. We're going to talk about the biggest game that's come out this year, the biggest game that's come out this month, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's finally here. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to jump immediately into the meat and potatoes of our conversation. I want to start with something more of like the hype side of everything, because we didn't get to talk about the trailer, everything we saw, how we felt about that first, and then we'll go into actually playing the game, because I played loads of it. I want to say I kept seeing you play it, so I want to say you've played loads of it.
Yeah.
So, Voltaire, the gameplay, without going into the actual game, the gameplay trailer that we saw from Nintendo, how did that make you feel when you first saw that?
This time, when in contrast to Breath of the Wild, because with Breath of the Wild, I watched everything that they released about it. I watched their full 6-hour long Treehouse gameplay stream. You know what I mean? Yeah. This time, I didn't watch anything. I watched that first gameplay trailer, and then I think like a little bit of one of the storyline trailers, and nothing else, because I didn't want to like see too much. I wanted to just go on in. You know what I mean? But that first gameplay trailer, I was just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is how they're going to change things up. You know what I mean? Like it made me like really want to play it, because it raised a lot of questions. I was like, what exactly is going on here? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it definitely, I was kind of on the edge of my seat until I was finally able to play it.
I think the funny thing is that damn media player is still up. I've just noticed. I kind of felt no, I didn't feel the same way. I was about to say I felt the same way. No, when we first saw the first trailer, like story trailer, I think it was either me, you, Niall, somebody, and we were just all like, this is kind of Majora's Mask like it's more.
I do remember thinking like they might be going in, especially with the very first like the storyline teaser.
Trailer.
Yeah. When it first showed them underground and stuff.
Yeah. Looking at the gameplay trailer, I remember posting it on Facebook or Twitter, one of them, and I was just like, I am a bit underwhelmed, because I kind of felt like I would see something else. You know, they showed Ultra Hand, they showed how you can dive through solid rock and stuff like that, and I was just like, how does this work in the world? It just seems like it's gonna stand out too much. It seems like Link is some type of ultra human and he's just overpowered. Like, I was just like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how is this gonna work? How am I gonna get that same feeling of Breath of the Wild? But then I kind of put that aside and said, look, I haven't played the game yet. And then my hype kind of came from just watching YouTube videos, all the great content creators out there making great videos about the story and the world and things like that and what's probably gonna happen. So ended up getting a lot of hype from that. And then boom, the game finally comes out. Yeah, the game. I was playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and then boom, all of a sudden, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
I've not played Jedi yet. I was kind of switching back and forth between Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space.
That's just nice. That's just good for your health.
Yeah. You know, good for the old mental health.
Good for the heart and everything. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, that's tough. I need to get to that Dead Space. Dead Space.
It's a good game. It's a good game. I kind of just got a little uh just sort of burnt out from too many games coming out in quick succession, so I
Yeah,
took a couple
yeah,
weeks off. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But so I haven't finished it yet, but it's really good. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm enjoying it.
It
But yeah,
it is looking
back
like
to
this year has been pretty good with games so far,
it's
and we
been a
still got a good one.
banging year already. Oh yeah.
We still got a few more games to come out, but um, I was gonna start, but it's weird when I start podcasting. I feel like I want to get like your first impressions off of Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm
Yeah.
like I rather hear you and then I'll talk. I was like I'm gonna go,
hmm
but then
So
yeah,
I've been on like a journey with with Tears of the Kingdom. Like
with Breath
honestly,
of the
because
Kingdom.
it's with Breath of the Kingdom, with tears of my breath. Because like, uh, it's it's been a struggle. Honestly, I've been struggling with it because it is it's much more difficult than I was expecting,
Yeah,
and they throw so much at you that it's been. I'm starting to catch my stride. Like just last night and this morning,
a little.
get into like sort of internalize like the mechanics and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was really difficult to do that. So I was like really struggling with shrines and like really struggling with just that exploration and stuff. Just like the hell am I like? What is going on here? And so like honestly, to my own surprise, I'm like not quite enjoying it as much as I did Breath of the Wild, or as much as I kind of expected to,
Yeah.
because it's been sort of frustrating for me, honestly. But like I said, I am starting to catch my stride and stuff. It's just, I think it's, yeah, it's not necessarily the fault of the game or anything. Obviously, it's just like they throw so much new stuff at you, all at once, and they don't really. You don't have the time to really like explain exactly how it all works, and then they chuck these like really complicated shrine puzzles at you, where you really have to think outside the box, which isn't a bad thing, obviously, but it was just like I was just sitting there like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? Like, what are you asking me to do? And then I'd be like, oh, that's right. You know what I mean? But it's taken me longer than I think I was expecting to like really sort of like get the stride of how the game works, which is like kind of funny because before the game came out, you had your reservations and I was super hyped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
And now
it's
after the game came out, you're like, it's game of the year. And I'm like, I
yep, yeah,
don't know.
yep. Uh, I agree. I actually agree with you in a lot of ways, because um that Nintendo came out and said like you don't have to play the first game to play this game, and I'm
hmm
like I think you do, like, to really understand
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild's
Mhm.
mechanics in this
Yeah.
particular Zelda
Because the
series.
stuff that does
Yeah,
carry over from the game, like shield surfing and shit
yeah,
like that, they never bring up at all.
yeah.
I don't think they've mentioned it at one time that you can actually do
Where
that.
I am, they do. Where I am,
Yeah.
they do. But
Oh, okay.
you gotta go further. You gotta go way
Yeah, yeah.
further. Um,
Which was like it was like kind of a selling point of Breath of the Wild. Like they had
yeah,
it in the commercials for it. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And the selling point for this game was like the new abilities that Link can do, and
Yeah.
all
Yeah. Have you
that.
seen the video going around? I think it's from on Instagram or Twitter of someone made a big mech that it like he like hit the thing and it stood up and it's this big mech with like a huge dick that
Yeah,
shoots lasers and flames out of its nipples and then it just collapses.
yeah, I've seen those. And of course they were
I'm like,
gonna
how do
come
people
out.
think of that? I'm
Yeah.
like, I would never have in a million years thought to do that.
And of course with so much creativity, that's
hmm
that's what the community was gonna come up with, was things like that. The
Yeah.
tutorial area, and I'm sorry for people that are listening because this might be a tiny bit spoiler. We won't go deep into the story, but the tutorial area is at least 2 times bigger than the Great Plateau, as I can tell, because they want you to get at least somewhat of an understanding of all
Mhm.
these new abilities, and you have to really use them in practice, because there is times like I didn't have trouble in the shrines, but I had trouble out in the world, like when like
Just kind of running
the
around.
first Korok seed I didn't
Yeah.
really understand. I was like,
Mhm.
I could
I
jump,
w-
I can create this and then jump and slide across, but how do I get this Koroks dude on top of
yeah.
this? You have
So
to
it took me
ultra
so
hand him on
long.
there.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that you could pick up the Koroks, and
Yeah,
so I think this is more of a hint than a spoiler. This is something I think people.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, thank you for telling me this,"
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I walked right past so many of them because they're like, "I need to look my friends over there," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll go talk to them," and then they're like, "My friends over there," and I'm like,
Well, I
"Okay,
know.
no, I was just talking to him. What are you talking about?" And then I was like, building some shit. and next to a Korok, and I saw his backpack light up, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh. So now I'm like attaching wheels to him and making him do donuts,
That's fun.
rolling him down hills.
That is so fun. Uh, so yeah, the first area, it just took me a while to get out of, and I think there was an article by Nintendo Life saying that a lot of people are using a lot of time or spending a lot of time in the first area. Well, it's like
Mhm.
it's so dense and there's so
It's
much to
so
learn.
dense. Yeah,
People don't
it's so
realize,
dense.
or people have realized. I think they have realized, but the Zonai technology, that is a whole new layer of
Hmm.
gameplay mechanics and a whole new feature that they have slapped on top of this game.
It's wild to when you
It's a
fuse
whole
it with
thing.
stuff, and then like, and the monster parts too.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was
Mm-hmm.
really clever. The fuse is, I think, the best new thing in the game because there's just so much that you can do with it, and there's like I like to place like a cart somewhere and fuse it with like a shield to make like a little skateboard because it's like
Yeah.
easier to control than like a horse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like um it's just it's really cool stuff like that. And like if you have like a regular like sword and then you go like a bokoblin like horn or something, it'll make it into like a more badass sword. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think stuff like that is really clever, you know. You haven't really seen anything like that in a game, like, you know. It's sort of in like Biomutant, I guess, kind of, but like there's not really a lot of mechanics like that in a lot of games.
Yeah, and it's
And
really
I think that's
cool.
really
I
clever.
think it tries to combat the durability thing that everybody was kind of
Hmm.
complaining about.
Hmm.
A wonderful thing that Nintendo's done in this game is they didn't just make Ultra Hand and say you can fuse stuff. They gave you a reason why you should be fusing
Yeah,
things
yeah.
because all the weapons are deteriorating from the gloom
Hmm.
or whatever the hell Ganon did in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so I love and hate the super hand and attach ability, you know, because it's like on one hand, some of the shrine puzzles are really annoying because I'm like, what? How do you want me to configure these fucking pallets? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? How do you want
Yeah.
me to do this? Like, it's like I was working at Costco again. I got to arrange the pallets, you know, and like, uh, but then on the other hand, there's like a moment where like a character's like, oh, I can't get across there. The bridge is out, and then it's like, it seems as though the game wants you to either like make a fire, you know. But I just chopped down every tree around me and just made
And
a
made
really
a
long
wood.
bridge
Yeah.
and made a really long bridge and just walked across. And I was
And
like, that's stuff like that's really fun,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, and I feel like it gives players options dependent on the player, right? Like,
Hmm.
um, I think if you would do that if you think, okay, I talked to this NPC and they told me about the the Hylian cones that make the flame or the wind go up higher.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You know exactly
take
the
that as a
moment I'm
hint.
talking about. Hmm.
Get a Hylian cone, or
Hmm.
I don't know, find one, whatever, find one, and then use it, and then you can just
Yeah,
fly across real
yeah.
easily. So I've been
One,
learning
yeah.
to really listen
Hmm.
and pay attention.
That's
Uh,
yeah. That's another thing too. Is to like, you know, I think one thing that feels overwhelming about it, you know, I think one of the reasons why I've kind of was struggling for a while because it it was hard to really focus and get good at one particular mechanic, you know,
mhm.
because every square inch of that game is just jam packed with just so much shit. You know what I mean? Like one thing that I kind of appreciated about Breath of the Wild was there was a lot of downtime. There were some empty areas. There were some places just kind of stop and look at flowers. There's none of that in this game. Everything has a bunch of shit all over the
Mhm.
place, and it's like on one hand it's cool. It's like a big playground full of toys and stuff. On the other
Mhm.
hand, it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? What do I do?
I love the fact that you brought that up, and that's why I love having you on this whole dojo because it's like we're hitting everything. It's like, yeah, I think I was telling my friend like yesterday. I was like, Breath of the Wild had so much open area, so much grassy plains that you know this game is like Bokoblin Camp over there, boss over
Mhm.
there, caves over here, and it's so much, and
It's a break.
it's like this is much easier in my
Hmm.
opinion to use 100+ hours because you're like you're going to your
Oh yeah,
waypoint
just
and then you
yeah.
just kind of scare her off
Hmm.
and
There's
you
always
start
going to be
doing
something
something
that you
else.
got to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm one of those people like I explore to an extent, but
Hmm.
if there's something and if I'm continuously getting rewarded and
Hmm.
entertained by my exploring, I'm gonna keep exploring and keep exploring
Yeah,
and keep exploring. But to your
yeah.
point, this game is super overwhelming, especially when you get down to Hyrule,
Yeah.
And the best thing to do, honestly, is to follow the story to a certain extent before you start
That's what
exploring and
I've sort of
everything.
realized. I
Yeah.
was like really struggling at first, and then I was like, I'm probably maybe I'm doing it to myself,
Mm.
by going too far off trail. You know what I mean? Like Breath of the Wild was all about like you don't ever have to do any of the missions if you don't want to.
Mm.
Whereas this definitely is more story focused.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm I didn't even realize that the paraglider was in the game for like 3 or 4 hours. You know what I mean?
It virtually
It,
wasn't.
exactly, yeah. And I kept dying because I kept getting into spots where I couldn't get down,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's got to be a fucking paraglider in this game. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. Why wouldn't there be? Otherwise, it's a major design flaw. And then I was like, oh, the very next story mission you
Yep.
get.
You ended up getting it. Uh, Nintendo definitely explains a lot in this game. I think to me, in my own opinion, they've added more to an already really really great game. I think the new abilities really make you think outside the box, and they really are good for like combinations of things. Like
Hmm.
I got on top of a freaking rock because all I did was I dropped a freaking log and then used reverse on it, and then I dived through the log to get higher. Like it was like stuff like that.
That's
Yeah, exactly. When you think
that's
about
really
it, it's
clever. I
crazy.
didn't. I would. That's yeah. That's crazy. I
That's
was
the
just like,
mind blowing thing.
whoa.
That's the creativity that you don't get in any other game.
Hmm.
But also, I am a person that will watch tip videos on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. See, now maybe I should do stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, yeah. And it's like to be clear, for the most part, I am enjoying it. I just feel like I would have to
Oh, I
say
know.
opinions about it if I'm
Yeah.
being completely honest.
Mm,
Because some of this, I get annoyed when I get frustrated at stuff. You know
mm.
what I mean? And so it's like if something's just frustrating, then I'm like, that's this
Yeah.
game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I think the reason people are spending so much time in the beginning of the game is because everything is just thrown at you, and I think a lot of people are kind of getting stuck in the first few hours of the game.
Yeah.
And and again, I think a lot of people are probably going to have the similar experience to myself, where it's like at first you're like, I'm not so sure about this game, but then you start to kind of catch your stride, and then you realize that you need to just do the first handful of missions, and then I think after that, once you get used to how different this game is from Breath of the Wild and
Yeah.
other open world games in general, then I think more and more,
Mm.
people start being like, oh, okay, I understand this game now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's very similar to Breath of the Wild, but it's different in all the like most important ways to just kind of throw you off. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you talked about how big it is and how more dense it is, and I think that's down to the fact that this is not on Wii U anymore. It's on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's only on the
That
Nintendo
is a
Switch.
good point.
And
Yeah.
it creates a lot more activities for the player because you also have chasms that are very very
Yes.
dangerous.
3 whole levels.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a sky level, there's
Mhm.
Hyrule, and then there's the
Oh
chasms,
yeah.
and it's like,
I
oh
casually
my
went down
god.
into the chasm, and I like landed in like a coliseum, and I'm just like, oh my god. My wife's like, are you okay?
It's like
I'm like, I'm doing the combat.
I jumped
I did it
into
though. I
that,
beat it.
and I was like, and like you're going down, it's like all these stars start coming up, and it starts, I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell is going
Mhm.
on in this game?
Yeah.
I was
I
so
kept
thrown off.
one time I'm like gliding down, and I kept expecting to see like some kind of landscape or something, and
Yeah,
then
and
it
you're like,
just
oh,
smacks
oh.
down into
Yeah.
the chasm, and it just
Just slap,
slaps.
and it's over, game over. Like it's the game is hilarious. Yeah, the game is hilarious. Yeah, I think, I mean, I've said it on Facebook. I think it's an unpredictable game in ways, and it really forces you to figure out how to get out of situations, how to get to your goals. You don't have to do the story. You can do all type of different things. Please
Mhm.
watch tip videos. I think this game I think it does. It's Breath of the Wild plus way, way, way more, and it's
So
more
much more,
story
yeah.
driven, and I like
Mhm.
that for a lot of
Yeah.
reasons. It does have the
Yeah.
same story structure too, because it's like okay, you have to go to all the biomes again and all the
Yeah.
regions and kind of help out everybody and
Hmm.
and find Zelda, but it
Yeah.
does it and revamps it in so many different ways. It just makes it so many so many ways that are better. So yeah,
Hmm.
to me, I'm saying it now on the Dear Video Games podcast. This is game of the year. I don't think what's coming out here next month. I don't think Diablo 4 is gonna be a match for it, and I don't think Starfield is gonna be a match for it, honestly.
Starfield,
And
yeah. If that game comes out, if that game exists at all,
if that game
I
actually
mean, who
exists,
knows? Maybe it's going to be the best game ever made. Who knows? But I mean,
true, that is very true.
if it exists,
Which we will
if it
definitely
ever
talk about
exists,
that game here in a minute.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
anything else on Breath of the Kingdom,
Breath of the Kingdom,
Tears of the Wild?
King of the Breathdom. Yeah.
It's definitely a game that's
Hmm.
super dense, but I'm enjoying it so much. It's like
Yeah.
every step of the way I've enjoyed it, and I've witnessed the difficulty too.
Hmm.
Like just like you said, I've witnessed that, but I think I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I think I'm actually good at video games, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I guess that's the big disclaimer is I'm not great at games. There's some games I'm really
yeah, true. Real good at.
single player games. It's okay to be really shitty at
True.
them.
The only game that makes me think I'm not good at games is Dark Souls. Like Elden Ring just makes me think I'm not good at video games because
Which one? So you froze on me for a second.
Oh, my bad. The games that make me feel like I'm bad is like Dark Souls. Like recently Elden
Oh
Ring
yeah, yeah.
made me
I mean, that's their whole purpose.
yeah, make you feel like you're not good.
People are like, you should really play like whatever new From Stuff game. It'll make you like feel bad about yourself.
It does every time.
Hmm.
It does every time.
They're beautiful works of art.
Yeah.
I'm just very bad at them. I tend not to play them anymore.
uh, any random encounters in Tears of the Kingdom that you just like, wow, I can't believe that actually just happened.
So well, there was the first time I jumped into the chasm, and I didn't die. I actually got like a skeleton horse, and I just spent so
Oh, wow,
long.
cool.
I unlocked a handful of the things, just running right past all the enemies.
Oh,
just running
nice.
right to them on the horse. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. And then and then there was like a giant skeleton he knocks, and I'm like, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. I'm out.
turning
I'm
around.
out. I'm out.
I'm not talking to this guy. No, I don't want to
That's
know what he's
hilarious.
talking about.
I've had multiple encounters. I've actually went into the castle and tried to like get
Just
like
fight Ganon.
not fight Ganon, but like I tried to get like good armor real quick.
Oh, right, yeah.
The castle's like a mess or whatever, but I'm just having fun like beating the
Mhm.
crap out of the bokoblins because like I like hitting them off of the edges and stuff and trying to
Yeah.
figure stuff out. But there's so
Yeah.
many times where like I'm up in the air or something and I'm trying to
Mhm.
like use the little glider or something and I'm like building this whole thing and then it just kind of falls off and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, damn.
So, okay, so there's one where I felt really badass, where I fused a bomb barrel to like a this little boomerang,
Oh,
and then
wow.
I chucked it like across like a little
Yeah.
cliff, and I was like badass. And then like an hour later, I'm like fighting this moblin, and he's like one of like the
It's the big
black
ones?
and red ones, that,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
really tough.
yeah.
And like and I'm like down to like a heart and a half, and so I'm like okay, I'm gonna shock him and make him drop his weapons, and you know what I mean. And
Mhm.
so I go to do chuck the lightning thing at him, and I accidentally throw it straight down.
Oh, God.
And I can kill myself.
I could shock yourself to death.
Okay. All right, then. I have one more. That's
Okay.
the funniest thing I've done in the game
I
so
got
far.
you.
In that Coliseum that I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to throw a weapon again, and I accidentally let go of the button too early.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to throw like a shock thing or like a bomb or
Yeah,
something at him,
yeah.
and I accidentally let go too early, and Link just sort of meekly tosses like my best weapon like 4 feet in
Oh,
front
that
of him.
sucks.
And then the guy just picks it up and
Oh,
kills me. With it.
You're just like, I have been done, dude. Like,
I'm like, what the fuck? I got so mad. It's like, God damn it.
you're just like, Bokoblin just straight picked up the best weapon in the game and just duked
I
me with it.
just imagine Link just like, oh yeah, take this. And just
Yeah.
okay, I will take it.
That freaking sucks, man. That's terrible. That is terrible.
Oh man, I was
Oh.
so mad, and then like I tried to explain what had happened,
Mm-hmm.
to like someone on a group chat, and I was like, okay, now that I've said it, now that I've typed it out, it's actually really funny.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Uh, that. Oh man, I've died a few times, but I haven't had that happen. Like I've had like monsters that are clearly better, like more badder than me, more over level than me kill me. But nah, I haven't had something funny like that happen.
Part of me thinks is I kind of am not used to only having like a small amount of hearts anymore. Go back to Breath of the Wild, and I have like 1,000,000 hearts and the best armor. People come up and hit me, I'm just like, you know what I mean?
It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing.
I think maybe I'm used to just brute strength and just pushing through people. Can't do that in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I see. Legend of Zelda, it needs a New Games Plus, like where you can just start with everything again.
That would be sweet.
Yeah,
that would be great.
So sick. Like I don't want to just like save right before Ganon and just still continue the game. So I see myself putting 80 to 100 hours into it because I absolutely love this game so far. Explain why.
I told my friends in the group chat I'm in with the other Globetrotter members. I'm just like, one of two the things is going to happen with me with this game. I'm either going to eventually rage quit permanently, or more likely, I'm going to 100% complete it and put 300 hours in and just bitch and moan the entire time.
I can see the latter.
Which is probably what's going to end up happening.
But like I said, Voltaire, you got to just watch. I watched IGN's first 14 things to do before first.
Oh, interesting.
And that helped me a lot. Learn the game. Learn the layout of the land, like just it helped me out a lot.
Wow, look at IGN being good at a video game.
Yeah,
wow.
and actually helping me,
Yeah. Golf clap for IGN.
It helped me get like the the fairies, all the fairies and stuff like where they're at and how to get that.
I ran into a fairy fountain and she like explained the whole thing, and I was like, I'll come back to this later.
Yeah, I'm not.
So, but you just explained a lot of shit to me. I did not follow any of that.
They also help you like get like teach you how. There's like a lady towards the beginning, like towards the Great Plateau, and she can help you like locate legendary armor real early, like you just go in the caves and stuff. Cave diving is my favorite thing in this game, by the way. I love it.
I really love when I find a cave.
Yeah,
that's really fun to do.
Yeah,
the caves and the little sky islands are really fun to me.
Yeah. I need to discover more of the sky islands, but the caves in Hyrule, like I love the fact that they have caves. It just makes exploring so much more fun.
And I'm really glad that
rewarding.
they did that.
Yeah, it's so good.
I assume that they're going to do some kind of trilogy or something. I guess it just feels like that's where they're going. I don't know. I haven't even started the story, but I just feel like that's where they're going,
Oh, okay.
But so it would be interesting if they did like if they brought back like water stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like iron boots and underwater shit, and put on the Zora mask and do double boomerangs.
Well, of course, me and you both. Well, I feel like I'm a little bit further, but me and you are both still in the beginning of the game. So
yeah, I just got to the Rito village. I'm just about to start the main story.
Oh, okay, so. You're right behind.
Yeah.
You're right behind.
Yeah.
But
it just took me a while because, like we said a few minutes ago, I was like, oh, I'm having a hard time because I haven't done a single story mission and I'm really underpowered. Yeah.
No,
so I'm like, okay, maybe I should play the game for real.
I think I'm a little bit well powered because I've been doing a lot. So, like I said, this is in my opinion.
The plus side to exploring first is when you go into the early areas, you have better armor.
You're just beefed up.
Not armor necessarily, because I'm just broke because I used all my stuff on my weapons instead of selling it. But I have like good weapons and shields. So.
And of course, getting rubies, you can sell rubies and make more money. I need to start doing that so I can buy some more armor and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely my game of the year. I'm saying it now. Definitely my game of the year. Love it. Love the game for as far as I'm gotten into it. Love it. I don't think it's gonna change. It's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about our second topic because we did spend 30 minutes talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Let's talk about our second topic. Redfall came out, right, for Xbox, and it is not done well. I
saw some takes about that. Yeah. I saw a headline on a YouTube video. I forget which channel, but it that just said Redfall is bad, and I was like, Yeah,
Yeah, it probably is.
it's
I mean, all the previews didn't say it was good, so it's probably bad. A lot of people,
critics are raving that it's middling at best.
a lot of people are just saying it's not good, and they're starting to question what the hell's going on in Xbox. And I want to talk about what is going on in Xbox, because
Hmm.
it seems like they should have by now. They should have an exclusive that's hitting really well.
They
Halo's
should have
in
all
its
kinds of
issues.
hits right now. Like you look back in the end of last year, beginning of this year, everyone, including two of us, are like, "Wow, Microsoft is gearing up to absolutely dominate this generation with Game
Mm-hmm.
Pass and with
Mm-hmm.
buying up Bethesda and buying up all this other shit." And even if they don't end up buying Activision, they're still like gonna have some kind of exclusivity with them probably. And like, but yeah, nothing's really come of it. I mean, I guess Starfield and Redfall were supposed to be like the first things that come of it, and Redfall's not good, and Starfield is
We
just a twinkle in Todd Howard's eye still. And so it's like it's wild. It's
yeah.
wild that they don't have more of these. They should have a Legend of Zelda or a God of War by now. I feel.
There should definitely be like a. I mean, I think, in my own opinion, I think Xbox maybe started a little bit late with development in terms of their exclusives, because Fable is a game that still needs to be coming out. Um,
Yeah, they keep saying, "Oh, we're making a new Fable game." It's like, okay,
like where's
yeah, me too.
where is it at?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
another shell shaded kind of game. I keep forgetting what it's called. If it's called like Wild something, not Breath of the Wild, but Wild something, and I completely forgot
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
That game's supposed to be
I
coming out. There's
vaguely
other
remember
ones.
seeing something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, if they do buy, get a full sell on Activision, that is really good.
Yeah, for
Really
them.
good
Yeah, I
for
mean,
them.
and the latest news is like I know we're not gonna talk about it too much because we're
Yeah.
both tired of talking about it. But then I guess it would be sort of the elephant in the room that I'll break it up. Like the UK did reject their merger with Activision, but honestly, what does that mean? Both of these companies are American. Who cares?
Yeah. Did they reject it or approve it?
I think they rejected it. Last I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, this is UK says they can't merge. It's like okay,
Okay.
whatever.
We rarely do it on here because we're both very liable people, but I just want to
Oh, yeah.
just fact check it.
Yeah, I'm a real wolf
Xbox.
listener.
Xbox Activision. Yeah, I know that's gonna be the first thing. No, the EU approves
The
Microsoft's.
EU approved.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting. Oh, now the girls are fighting because the UK is not in the EU. Remember,
right, exactly.
they were really adamant about that a couple of years ago.
So Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition approved by EU regulators.
Interesting.
So but somebody did not approve it though recently.
Yeah, I think it was like England. Yeah, but what's it called? But yeah, it doesn't matter. It'll probably happen. Every other country in the world can tell them no. As long as the United States says they can do it,
It's like
that's all that
what?
matters.
Hold on.
That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
Right.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
like,
Oh
okay,
yeah. Yeah,
okay,
you're
Europe,
right.
you're good. Okay, UK, you're gonna tell British people they can't have Call of Duty. All right, that's your play.
You're right though. Yeah, UK denied it. The UK denied it.
That's
So
actually really funny. I think this is like the first time I've actually heard of the UK make an official decision that contradicts something the EU did. No,
right.
Brexit finally shown its colors.
It was no. We do not want Diablo on Xbox.
Yes,
No,
it was.
no,
Yeah.
we do not want
Yeah.
Diablo on Xbox. So let me ask you this. Okay, Game Pass is still going well. I think me and you both can sit here and say Game Pass is one of the best things.
I love Game
the
Pass. We
industry.
say all the time it's difficult to talk about Game Pass without sounding like we're being paid by Microsoft.
Get Game Pass. I bought a new Xbox Series X. I don't have my S
Nice.
anymore, and it's solely because I want more games from Game Pass.
Yeah.
And but where do we get the and also Game Pass has the first, like, you can play, you're gonna be able to play Starfield on Game
Yeah.
Pass. You don't have to buy it.
Which is
Boom.
sweet. Yeah.
It's
Game
great.
Pass is such a good deal that it's like it's almost like when it's kind of surprising to me that more people don't have Xboxes because it's
Right.
like again, it's hard to sound like we're not doing an advertisement. Like I promise.
But is
like,
Game Pass enough? Is Game Pass enough to spend $500 on an Xbox?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like what we did was, I don't know if there's still this deal anymore, but at least when the S first came out, you could do, it was like $35 a month from Target, and they sent you a console, and you got Game Pass and
Mm.
Xbox Live Gold,
Oh, okay.
and you're just, and the Xbox Live and Game Pass were like free for like a year, so we
Mm.
just paid off the console bi-monthly and had Game Pass the whole time, and so that made it completely worth it.
Mm.
Even though I bought like two games on that console. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But but you're right. Like just to go out and just drop 500 on a Series X or or S, then to just be able to like, oh, I can play Fable 2 or whatever. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's like, I don't know. I would say it depends on your taste, but overall, I would say in the long run, probably. I would say it probably worth it in the long run because like you said, there's like all the Doom games, all the Bethesda stuff. You could do like some really brand new games. Like I was playing Shadow Warrior 3, which like just came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And
cool.
I
That's
just think
cool.
stuff like that is great. I
Mm.
just started a new franchise in MLB 23,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
it's like
Road
yeah,
to the show type stuff and all that
hmm
stuff. I think maybe that's where like we kind of keep forgetting about the now that I don't have one, I sold it, but my
hmm
Xbox Series S, that's a good deal because you can say, hey, you spend $300, you get to have you all you got to do is just download Game Pass.
exactly, yeah. And I didn't have a one, so I don't have any discs or anything. So
Mm.
it's not something that I like necessarily need is like a disc drive in it. So it's not
Right.
that big of a compromise for me. Even though normally I would want a disc drive in a console, but it's not
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and I one thing that I really liked about when I made my jump to my X was all my save data. When I downloaded the games, all my save data is like it jumped over to the X.
Yeah, they
I was
do it
really
all pretty
surprised.
seamlessly. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like I even noticed that between um, um, PC and Xbox on some games,
That's
and it's like,
crazy.
yeah. I was like, oh,
That's really dope.
okay,
I really like that. I thought, wow, like really Xbox thought about everything except,
yeah,
hey, let's make more exclusive games. Like
yeah. They
it's
thought of
literally
everything
that.
except let's make some really good games.
Like let's actually make the games. And
Yeah,
I heard, and I might have to fact check myself again. I'm sorry, you guys. I usually have better notes for this damn show. I'm gonna have to fact check it because apparently Phil Spencer, who I am a fan of, he came out with some real stinkers the other day where apparently he said, they don't need games for Xbox.
oh, I just
Is
saw
that true?
something like that. There was something along the lines of even if we had like a Legend of Zelda, we wouldn't beat PlayStation or something like that. He
Yeah.
made some strange comment like that, and it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess.
It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see the console share shift in some dramatic way. This is coming from Young Yaz like YouTube.
Yeah,
Um, he said, yeah, Phil Spencer says great games won't help Xbox. Um,
I mean, it couldn't hurt.
it won't hurt, but
Yeah,
will it? I mean, damn, I feel like some people might be looking at this and saying, you know, I think what he's saying is like it's not gonna just all he said won't shift Xbox sales. I think he's trying to basically say it's not gonna make a drastic change to where you're gonna see it. Maybe. Um,
yeah. I mean, it's the the tiers are kind of locked in place,
yeah. Um, but at the same time, they still
and
need
everyone's always just going to have a Nintendo console. You know what I mean?
yeah
Like,
or PlayStation because it's
yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I feel like it's sort of a self-defeating thing to say. Like that's what
mm-hmm.
I saw. That I was like, what
Yeah,
a
yeah,
weird,
yeah.
pessimistic thing to say because like, it definitely couldn't hurt. I mean, people bought X. I mean, this generation of Xbox is like around at all. I think
Mm,
because of Game Pass and some of the
true.
good games that they do have. But it's just like there's not a lot of reason for people to just jump in and get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right now Xbox is sort of positioning itself as like the console for if you don't already have a large library of video games and you don't want to spend $1,000 to build a library of video games. You can buy a
Mm-hmm.
$300 console and pay $20 a month and play every game ever made, basically. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
But
right. No, I completely agree with you. When you said it, I was like, yeah, that's actually true. It does sound very defeatist, and I think it's
yeah,
really
it's like if you
he.
want people to buy an Xbox and not a PlayStation, you know what I mean?
It
Then you got to have
sounds
a reason
like
to do that.
he thinks about it a lot, and he's just kind of
Mm,
fed up of it. Um, I think
yeah.
when Redfall got in the situation it got in, I think he really was legit like upset about that. And
Hmm.
when he came out with the statement, like, yeah, he's a little upset that Redfall,
Yeah.
but surely he knew the state of the game.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I guess if even if we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, I guess this is what he was trying to say with releasing great games isn't gonna help, but releasing shitty games is gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's
You
gonna hurt
know?
really bad. Yeah.
It's gonna hurt bad. You'd be better off to not release a game at all than release a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you're just like, it's bizarre. It's like, no, we're only gonna release bullshit from now on. Because
I
whatever.
it I don't know. I'm reading some of the headlines, and it's like it's just coming across as like, I mean, he did admit, we lost the worst generation to we lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One. Whoever the hell this was, they wrote that wrong. Yeah, they lost the Xbox One generation, and we all knew that. There's no,
Hmm.
I mean, PlayStation 4 had people who were Xbox fans coming over to PlayStation. Like, that's how bad
Yeah,
that was.
yeah. Well, even with the 360, which was the number one for so long. At the end, when people look back on the generation, they always say that PS3 outsold it at the end
Mm,
of the day.
yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just they tend to Sony. I mean, all of these companies have their weird moments and stuff, but it's just Sony and Nintendo are more consistently good at releasing video games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nintendo is always does some weird choice with their hardware that people don't always like, but their games tend to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the best in class.
Yeah.
And the same with Sony. They hire the very best people to make their games, and like after and Xbox seemed like that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then they just don't though. It's bizarre.
Because you
It's
even
yeah.
have games like Hellblade,
Hmm.
Hellblade 2 coming out, and it's like we've rarely heard anything about that. I've
Hmm.
heard from a source myself that we might be hearing something soon, but it's
Hmm.
it's like where are these games at, right? And it's
Yeah, because the pitch was, oh, we're Microsoft. We're the richest company in the world. We have
yeah,
unlimited money.
yeah.
We're gonna buy up these indie developers who made like Hellblade and Outer Worlds and all this kind of stuff, and we're gonna give them unlimited resources to make the
Mm-hmm.
best video games ever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
are the best games
It's like,
ever?
and that's the thing. Like
Give me.
your traditional development of a game is like 8 years. So even when I heard about that, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is gonna take a very long time, and
Yeah.
the console can go right past you. The console generation can go right past you. So
Hmm. That's actually
it's
a
gonna
good
be a
point.
while.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, to make, you know, like God of War, yeah, the sequel still took a bunch of years to make, but
Mm-hmm.
slightly less time because they already had like an engine and stuff to work with.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's gonna you can't just build something new from scratch. And then it's like when they do have a good thing going, like I know both of us really enjoyed Halo Infinite. They
Mm-hmm.
still piss off the fans of the game who play it for the online modes by
Yeah.
doing all that
All
weird
that
shit
other
that they
stuff,
did with
and
it.
they made people that do the single player because they were supposed to have DLC and all type of stuff. So they just showed
Hmm.
that they only cared about the online, but the online
It
was
was
crap
it was
at
a
that
great
point.
single player campaign. It was just kind of short, and we were all kind of like, so when is that extra storyline going to come? And
Yeah.
then just they're like, probably never. Okay,
They're
okay then.
gonna be really upset with just with Sony coming up. I mean, the new Spider-Man game's coming out. The Wolverine
Mhm.
game is floating around somewhere, and Sony looks like
That's
they're about
right.
to
Yeah,
start dropping more and more hits. So it's like,
they've been on a roll for a very long time.
yeah,
They've been just absolutely killing it for I don't know, like 30 years, I guess. You know what I mean? And
for a
it's just,
while, yeah.
yeah. And it's like, because I was gonna say since like the PS4 with like the first Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. Then I was like, actually, they killed it back when they were coming out
Mm-hmm.
with freaking Gran Turismo,
And
1995.
exactly, and here we go. Okay, so Forza Motorsport will be coming out but it's like that's for a certain niche of fans.
It
Like
is, yeah.
that's what that's for. Same thing with
It's a
Forza
fun
Horizon.
game,
They're
but
great.
it's
They're
not
great games.
something that you're gonna play
It's
for
not a
100
console
hours.
seller.
And it's not a console seller. Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom is a console seller.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's gonna be a console seller this
Yeah.
holiday when it comes out. Um,
God of War already has been.
it's already
Like
exactly. It's already.
even some of Sony's like relatively minor games like Horizon. I feel like people would buy a console to play it
Would you say
because
Horizon's minor
I mean, relatively compared to something like
compared to
God of
God of
War or
War?
something. Yeah,
Got
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Got you.
yeah,
Got you.
yeah. I
Got you.
mean, yeah, yeah.
Because
It makes less of a
yeah,
splash than other stuff like that. Like you
yeah.
maybe wouldn't.
If it would stop releasing right next to major titles,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it would
they're like
definitely do
Horizon
something.
3 is going to come out whenever FromSoft releases a new game.
What was the game that Forbidden West came out? Was it Elden Ring?
It was Elden Ring, yeah, the same day or like the same week or something like that. I
Oh.
think I think the same day. The same with Breath of the Wild. Like first Horizon came out 3 days before Breath of the Wild.
This third one has to be in the middle of the summer.
It's got to be. They have to be. They have to think about it. Like surely they'll like just do a quick Google. Like what's coming out this
Knowing
month?
their luck, it'll be you know that we always get like that one indie game 1 year that
Oh
one
yeah.
indie game that just is amazing. Watch it be
Mhm.
that game. Watch it be that.
Yeah, it's gonna release the same time as like Among Us 2.
Hades 2. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
they're gonna be like, ah,
they're gonna be like, we finally found the perfect date. No other big games are coming out that day, and then Nintendo's gonna like surprise launch Animal Crossing or something.
a new Animal Crossing.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ!
It's like not their fault, but it is their fault. It's like
Exactly. Yeah. The
goodness.
universe has it out for them.
Who is the console seller for Xbox? I done an article on Game Luster saying Todd Howard feels the pressure. He feels it. Like he's like, we've never been a console seller. We've always just
actually,
had a
I read that.
dynasty.
Yeah, and it's like I saw that article, and it was like it's so interesting that he said that in an interview. I thought that was like a pretty candid thing of him to say because he's like, yeah, I mean, we just make games. Like we're just, people think it's kind of funny and quirky that our games are sometimes janky or whatever, and not everyone. People just kind of hate some of the ones that we make, but for the most part, people tend to like our games, and we're satisfied with our overall output. But now we have to like compete with the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can do that.
I think it's a double-edged sword for Bethesda because they have to. Unfortunately, they're in a situation where they have to prove themselves again to the fans because they've had a bit of bad, releases.
Bit of a losing streak.
Yeah, they've been on They've been on a losing streak, and they're gonna have to. Well, damn, Redfall fucked it up. So
that was Bethesda too, wasn't it?
No, that was Arcane.
Arcane. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So Arcane went from title, Game of the Year contenders with Deathloop, right?
Right.
And then all the way to Redfall, which I mean, it's coming across as a bit of a maybe they went through that game quick. They developed that game very quick for Xbox, maybe.
I wonder how much studio interference they're facing. Because like you see this a lot with studios. Like there was like wasn't it Platinum Games that got roped into making some kind of shitty MMO for Square Enix and like everyone hated it. It's like
probably
you know what I mean? Yeah, and it's like I just think sometimes these big companies they get these like really beloved video game developers thinking like no matter what we tell them to do they'll make like a hit, and then they interfere too much, and then this lackluster game comes out, and then to kind of
they're surprised that it's bad. Like what?
Yeah, and it's not like a mark on that developer forever after that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily their fault.
Because with Bethesda, even if it was like Fallout 4, it wasn't as good as everybody said, but it was okay. And so it's like, okay, let's say they didn't bring out 76 and did all that other stuff. They start putting like their own marketplace for mods and Skyrim and stuff. Like let's say they didn't do all that. Like then it's like, okay, we can get excited for Starfield and we can truly get. I don't know, Voltaire. I think I'm the only person in the world that's excited for Starfield. Like I just want to see what happens.
When it's there, the one thing that keeps me still excited for Starfield is this is their thing that they're good at. This is like the one thing that they like really do is these types of games. You know what I mean?
And it's the
like
mainline Bethesda.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. And I'm like, God, I hope so. I
Yeah.
like really hope so. That game is very good, and I hope it's like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I like Fallout 4. I get
Mhm.
that like diehard Fallout fans think it's too much of a departure from the
Mhm.
other games, but I
True.
enjoy it a lot. And so
True.
like, you know, if it's gonna be along those lines, then great, you know what I mean. But if it's gonna be, you know, on some bullshit like some of their more recent stuff, then people are not gonna enjoy it. And
Yeah.
especially since they've been hyping it up and dragging us along for what feels like 1,000 years now. Like,
Mhm.
when did they announce it? Like many years
Starfield's
ago. Yeah,
Starfield got announced a while ago.
like a very long time
Well, I
ago. And
think the
like
same time Elder Scrolls 6 got announced. I
six,
think it was the
exactly.
same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they were like, well, Elder Scrolls 6 isn't going to be out until like 2030 or whatever,
Yeah.
probably. So in
Until
the meantime,
Starfield is out, basically.
exactly. So in the meantime, then you get to play Starfield. But in the meantime, they meant like 6 years
Yeah, exactly.
from now. Yeah.
Exactly. Uh I feel bad for the team. They're going to have to kind of put Xbox on their shoulders.
Yes,
If
they're gonna have to be like Atlas, like,
yeah.
you know, lifting them up.
I want to ask you, what is your prediction for that? Is Starfield going to be a good game or
I hope. I think that, you know, it seems like they really understand all the pressure that they're under, and I hope that they're not like crunching and too much and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. You know,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
Xbox and Bethesda have both come out and said we've done that in the past and we're sorry, we're not going to do it anymore. Blah blah
Mhm.
blah. And hopefully they stick to that. You know, and you know, I don't know. I just it's been delayed so much. They seem to really be taking it seriously that I am holding out faith that it'll be good. You know what I mean? Like, will it, like, it might have like some level of Bethesda jank. Who knows?
Mhm.
I think there's less of an excuse if there's a bunch of jank because they have $1 trillion behind them because of
Yeah.
Microsoft.
A whole
You know
bunch
what
of
I mean?
money.
But hoping that it'll be like a good game. I'm hoping that it'll be like classic Bethesda.
But
Like
so I'm glad that you hope, but do
yeah,
you think it will? Like, do you think it's actually gonna be a good game?
that's more difficult to say. That's harder to say that I'm
Yeah,
confident that it will.
yeah.
But I guess
Good.
I would
That's
say
good to hear,
that
man.
if I had to place a bet, I would bet on it being good. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that there's a better chance of it being good than of it being bad
Yeah.
because of all the delays.
Mm.
When the more a game gets delayed but still talked about, the more I actually believe that it'll be good when it comes out. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like with Metroid Prime 4, when they keep delaying it, it just don't mention it. I'm like, well, that game's we're never gonna play that
We're
game. You
just
know,
not gonna play it.
which is
Screw
never
it.
gonna exist. Yeah,
Screw it.
but
Yeah.
you know, with Starfield, they're like every few months, they're like another update or something like that, and I'm like, I feel like it's probably
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. True. I think it's gonna be damn. I think it's gonna be good. uh, it's like
It's so
I
tough to
just don't
say.
know. I think it's
It's
gonna be
hard to
good.
say that about a Bethesda
Yeah.
game these days.
I think it's not gonna be a renaissance for them. I don't think it's gonna be
Yeah,
it's not gonna be vintage Bethesda. I am gonna say it now. I feel like Elder Scrolls 6 might be. I think Elder Scrolls 6 is way
yeah,
too big to fail.
hmm yeah,
I think it's gonna be good, but I think that people are gonna be so mad at them for all the stuff they did in the past that a lot of people are just gonna overlook the game and
hmm
and really over criticize it for no reason and when it's a
exactly. Yeah.
really good game. And I think to an extent a
That's
lot
the
of
other thing
people
that when you said Renaissance, that made me think like if it's not that, if it's
Mhm.
not like either like a return to the glory days or something like a new like the dawning of a new glory days,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
people are gonna get like trash it,
yeah.
which you know, which it may or may not end up deserving. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's like if it's if it's just like a you know, quote unquote like return to form,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people if they play that and it's not something that reminds them of the first time they played Skyrim,
Hmm.
then maybe they'll probably be pissed off. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's where I think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be good. Like you said, I think you said it perfectly. The return to form. I hope it's a return to form. Like you go out there,
hmm
you know, I don't know the score to the game, but let's just say LeBron's kind of stinking it up right now. Dennis Schroeder ain't hitting nothing. But then game 2 in Denver, they start hitting those threes. LeBron's taking it to the hoop. It's all right. Now you back in form. Let's take it back to LA. So I hope it's let's take it back to LA for.
That's so funny.
I hope Todd Howard is there with a basketball. Like I can shoot threes all day.
That's hella funny.
I hope. I just hope. And of course, here on the Video Games, we love video games. We want to see him do well.
So is Todd Howard LeBron or is Todd Howard Dennis Schroeder?
Oh damn. Todd Howard has to be LeBron, doesn't he? Like,
he has to be LeBron.
He has to be LeBron. Because he's the guy, he's the face, man. He's the face of the franchise that he's always going out there saying. Isn't it crazy how he just says wild stuff sometimes? Like
he says some wild shit.
You can explore 1,000 freaking planets. You can explore 1,000 planets.
I was wondering about that because, like, I think we talked about this right after he said that, like, and just being like, is he like, is this gonna be like a Peter Molyneux kind of moment in the future, you know? Or he's like making too big of claims, you know?
Yeah.
And then later on, when they're like, "Hey, Peter, how come none of this stuff was in the game?" He's like, "I just kind of lied about it."
I just kind of lied, and it is what it is. I mean, and then what was that? I think he said this a few E3s ago, and he's like, "We can't explain it. It just works." And it
just works. Yeah.
I don't
that was
know
like their whole
you
thing
should say
for so
that.
long.
Yeah, I don't know if you should say that in game development.
It just works. And then Fallout 76 came out, and they're like, until it doesn't. It just works until it does not work at all.
When you press the live button on that, it doesn't work actually. So
yeah,
it's like, what the hell? Yeah, I think they're under a lot of pressure. And, I hope they knock it out of the park. And hopefully that a lot more games start coming for Xbox. But as of right now. I think, like you said in the beginning of this conversation, we thought Xbox was going to do really well.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just seeming like they're in third place again because Nintendo, even without new hardware, which is very much frustrating me because I want a Switch that just. Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of technical issues. There's a lot of frame rate drops and stuff like that. Draw distance and stuff like that.
The slight upgrade of the OLED is nice, but yeah, they definitely taking their sweet time on like a Switch 2. I feel like
we need a 4K Switch.
I feel like they could do it. I feel like they could come out with a Switch that's comparable to like a PS4 Pro or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a PS5, a portable PS5.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they could come out with something that's comparable to an Xbox One that's still a Switch that can use the old cartridges and the new ones, like they did with the 3DS compared to the DS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they could do that and not charge $900 for it, but who knows?
I don't need a 4K undocked screen. Maybe 1080 if you could.
Yeah,
push
exactly. And then also, like, kind of be careful what you wish for with Nintendo, because it's like, oh, come out with a new console, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, this console you have to control with the theremin or whatever. You know what I mean?
They are very funny with that, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's very funny with that one. Yeah, I, that's my big thing with Nintendo right now. I think it's time for a new console, and I'm ready for a new console because it's weird. It's like I feel like the Switch has this power that we can't really understand because it's like. Okay, look how big Tears of the Kingdom is. And it's like, damn. And then
how can they do that on the Switch?
Yeah, and it's like, it can run The Witcher.
It can run No Man's Sky.
It can run No Man's Sky.
That's wild. That
is kind of crazy, yeah.
It's like, you can play No Man's Sky on that. That's insane.
That is nuts. I feel like the Switch has this friendly hardware that maybe a lot of developers can work with.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. It's like it's a Game Boy, you know. It's a high-tech, futuristic Game Boy, and I think that appeals to people who are making games, and it appeals to people who play games. So even though it's not really up to like the standards of the current gen, like hardware-wise, they have no motivation to make any console right now.
Yeah,
you know. And I kind of think part of me in the back of my mind thinks they might be holding out to try and outsell the PS2 before they make a new console. I kind of think they might be doing that because it seems like it will. If they give it another couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
They haven't
if
passed
they give it
the
another couple
yet?
of years, they might. I feel.
Okay, so they haven't passed the PS2.
And then I think we're gonna look out for another console because they got very close with like I think like the Game Boy or the Wii or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they haven't passed the PS2 in sales yet, right?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
I don't think anything has yet. And
Dang.
that's sort of like I'm half joking, but also kind of feel like that might be what
I
they're
can
doing.
I can see that. I can see that. We'll
Yeah,
see, I
they're
guess.
petty with each other like that.
Yeah. Well, it's coming midway to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which is bananas to me. But that's
It
when
is wild to
usually
think about that.
yeah, that's when they have a little new console come out. So we'll see
Hmm.
what happens
There
when we
are
see that.
rumors all over the place of a PS5 Slim or Pro or something like that, and I don't know how much I believe those because, like, sure, we're halfway through the generation, sort of, but everyone just got the PS5 because
Yeah,
of the
true.
chip shortages and the pandemic and the
Hmm.
scalpers, and so
And the
I don't know.
brokenness of
Yeah, and
everybody.
it's expensive. I feel like it'd be kind of messed up right now to come out with the PS5
Yeah.
Pro.
Well, there's
Just
more. Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh,
nuts.
you just installed your current $800 PlayStation. Buy another one.
um, my name is Curtis with the Soul Dojo Gaming Channel. This has been Voltaire Slapadelic with the Soul Dojo Gaming Channel.
Sure
Also,
has.
you can check out a lot of his first impressions on really good games. We've actually done a first impressions on a lot of good games.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't. Well, you didn't really like. You kind of liked it a little bit of. Oh my God! Xbox came out with the game.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah,
Hi-Fi
yeah,
Rush. It kind of dropped the
yeah.
best saddle
Hmm.
drop game this
Yeah, I
year.
thought that game was all right. I didn't
Yeah,
think it was as great as everyone else.
yeah.
Or not everyone else, but a lot of people did. But I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have anything too negative to say about it. I mostly just kind of
You
made
just
fun of
watch
some
the
of it.
video and you'll hear exactly.
Yeah,
I did one
I love
recently.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, you did one of
Yeah.
that. I recently did one of Jedi
Hmm.
Survivor, which I really like Jedi Survivor. I probably will not play it anymore because
Yeah,
there's
right.
other
That's what
things.
happens. That's what happens. Yeah.
Niall is doing our first impressions of Tears of the Kingdom. Hopefully that comes out. You guys heard our opinions here.
Nice.
Make sure you guys follow him at V underscore or V underscore Slapadelic. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that was your
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm barely even on
Twitter.
Twitter anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Twitter's such
So
like, oh,
music
Twitter is like a
wise,
wretched hive at this point. So follow
yeah.
me on Instagram. Just Voltaire Sapodelic, all one word.
There you go. Music wise,
Yeah.
I don't think you have a project right now. I don't think you're doing anything right now, music wise, right?
Oh, sorry, you froze again. So what's going on music
Oh
wise?
yeah, music wise, you don't
Uh,
really have anything going on right
so
now, right?
nothing like immediately. There's a couple projects I'm working on that are a little. I'm not sure. They're like collaborations, so I don't want to like to call them out without asking if I can do that yet. But yeah, like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, I sort of been kind of taking like a just a little mini vacation for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a couple EPs and projects in the work with some people, and hopefully all of that's coming out this year. That's what I
Yeah.
always say.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Hopefully
Todd
none of this
Howard
is.
over here.
I know, right? Yeah, it'll come out when Starfield comes out.
My name is Curtis Russell. You can follow me at Callie from the Dojo. Of course, you can find all my. I did 3 separate articles. I mean, it's going bananas today on Sports Gamers Online. You can also just check me out on Twitter as I left Game Luster. I love Game Luster. Make sure you guys go subscribe to their channel. They're great. But yeah, and join our Discord. Join our Discord. Brand new Discord we opened. The Soul Dojo on Discord. It's great. Voltaire's in there. I'm in there. We have a couple other people in there talking about video game stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
We'll check you guys
Good.